Hi everyone, and this is a quick video that has been asked by one of my subscribers on what flash should he buy. So basically, if we look here, we've got a YN560 Mark II, a YN565EX, a 580EX and a YN560. So let me just go through a couple of the flashes and say what flash does what and what it could do for you. So if we look at the lowest end of the flashes, it is the YN560 Mark I, which is a full manual flash. There's no display on the back of it. It has got a built-in, I know another one of my subscribers asked about flash triggers. It will go off with this flash when your on-camera flash goes off or one of your studio lights or whatever. So you don't need to buy a trigger for it. And one of the questions somebody asked is why I add some of my flashes on triggers. Sometimes when you're outside, your little camera flash will not be powerful enough to trigger it to go off. So it's still nice to have triggers, because a trigger will make it go off whether it'll just go off all the time, whether it's really sunny or dark. So that's your cheapest end flash. But it does, you can zoom the head in and out on the flash. Obviously you can turn it up and down. It has got the built-in wireless transmitter and it will fire on your camera, but it's a full manual flash. Now in UK, I think this retails for about 40 quid, 37.99 or something. And then after that, you've got the YN560 Mark II, which is at the end. Now that's the flash that, if you're going to go for one of these cheaper flashes, that's the one I recommend you get, because it's only an extra £10. I won't even bother with that one. I mean, I got that one before that one was released. If that never breaks, I won't dream of buying another one. I'd definitely go for this YN560 Mark II. And I will tell you now that the difference between all them, that is nearly 3/4 of a stop brighter than any one of them flashes, even the Canon Big Daddy there. So the only difference though between that one and this one is that it has an LCD display, and that's about it really. And you can turn it up and down in smaller increments. So if you want your flash to be more precise, where this one doesn't turn down in as smaller increments as this one. So like I say, if you haven't got a flash and you decide after this video that you want a cheap YN560, do not go for this. You're wasting your money. Don't buy it. I mean, I use mine and it works great, but that's because I bought it before I bought this, and this is still working great. I mean, that was one of my first cheap flashes I bought and it works great, but I wouldn't recommend you get it. I recommend you go for this. Now again, that is a full manual flash. Doesn't do anything automatically. It has the same built-in triggers. So it will go off when your on-camera flash goes off or another off-camera flash goes off. Basically, the built-in triggers into this one and this one just go off when they see a flash. So they'll trigger off. And they have got S Mode 1 and what you call S Mode 2. S Mode 2 is if you're using your little on-camera flash, it fires an ETTL pre-flash. So you need to put these in S2, not in S1. It'll be S2 on that and S2 on this. If you're using your on-camera flash to fire it in ETTL, that means your on-camera flash is firing in ETTL. To trigger this, you would need to put it in S2. If your on-camera flash is working in manual, you put it in S1. That goes for the same as this one. If you're using triggers, you put it into M mode for triggers. So that's them two flashes explained. They're very similar, but like I say, for the extra £10, get the Mark II because it looks more professional as well. And the Mark II, in fact, if I remember correctly, it comes with this like net pouch, which is like a 580EX. This cheap one here, this one comes with like a bag. So you are better going with the Mark II. So with that said, so this is the first flash, then this is second in line. Then you've got the YN565EX. Now the YN565, obviously they're all YN that you've seen so far, so they're all made by Young-O. And the YN565 basically, that retails for around £100. but it is a stonking flash. It does everything that these two do. So it's got your built-in slave modes, it's got your LCD triggers, but what this one will do, I remember that the guy that actually asked this question, he says he's got a 600D. Well, the 600D, I've got a 600D by the way, as a spare body. Don't use it very much, but I have got one. And it's got the built-in Canon wireless transmitter as your 600D. This will work as a slave, so you can put it into slave mode and you can control it from your camera's menu. So you go into your 600D's menu, go into your flash control, enable wireless, turn this into slave mode by holding your zoom button for 5 seconds or 3 seconds and change it into slave, and you can have it off camera and you can control it from your camera. So if you had it on the other side of your living room on a stand, you could control it from your camera. You can fire it in ETTL, you can control, turn the power, you can use, you can treat it as if it was on the camera. If it were this posh 580X on your camera, you can treat it like that off camera. So there's a bonus to this flash. And obviously it's slightly built better. The power though is the same, it's not any more powerful. The 565EX will work on your camera in ETTL, where these are all manual. These two are manual flashes. This will work in ETTL. So in a way, brilliant. It behaves near enough like having the posh Canon 580EX on your camera. You've got the power. It'll work as a slave. Without going into too much detail though, the 580EX does high-speed sync. So what is high-speed sync? High-speed sync's where you can use flash above your native sync speed on your camera, which your 600D is 1/200 of a second. So if you was in the house and you was doing an all flash picture and you was using this YN565EX and you went to 3/20th of a second, you'd hardly have any flash in your picture. Whereas with a 580X, that supports high-speed sync. So that would still basically give you a proper illumination. So that's a negative to the YN565. And also, you can't treat the YN565 as a master flash. Now, I'm not going to go on for too much longer because this could go on over 10 videos. So basically, the YN565 is a very, very good option if you don't need high-speed sync. Because you can put it on your camera, you can go to parties, go to birthdays, go wherever you like, and you can use ETTL. I'm sorry about the banging going on upstairs, it's my kids running around. So the YN565, you can still use your ETTL, you can use it off camera like these and tell your on-camera flash to fire it, and you can use your built-in wireless system on your 600D to actually control it as well from your camera. So that's double the money though, but if you've got 100 quid, that's a good buy. Now I'm not going to go to the 580X, which is the best of the lot, and like I said, the only difference deep down is the build quality, I'd say, and the 580X does high speed sync and you can use it as a master. That's only really the difference. The 580X though, when you put it off camera, it won't go off when your on-camera flash goes, like all these other three YNs will. That one won't, which is a bit crap really. You would have thought they'd have done that, but it doesn't. So you'd have to buy a trigger for it. Or you could use it on the wireless system again. I could have it on your 600D. You can have a 580X off camera and control it from your menu on your camera. But again, it does need to have line of sight for that to actually work on both of these flashes. That's why I use the posh YN622C. In fact, I won't actually call them posh because they're very cheap. I use the YN622C flash triggers, which enable them both to work off camera, and I can control them from the camera, and it's a wireless signal, so it doesn't have to be able to see them. That's why I use the triggers. So I'm just going to talk about another flash which has just come out, and it's a YN568EX for Canon. It's the model above this, and the difference is it supports high-speed sync. It's only an extra 20 quid, and to be fair, if this is the one that you're really looking into for £100, don't buy it. Spend an extra 20 and get the 8. So it'll be the YN568EX, because you get high speed sync, which means if you're outside in the garden and Basically, if you use this one, your shutter speed won't go above 250th of a second. If you're using your 200 of a second on your 600D, it'll limit it to 200 of a second. Whereas if you get the 568EX, you can shoot a shot outside in the sun with some nice flash at 1/8000 of a second, and you'll still get a bit of fill flash. So I know you're probably thinking, well, why have you got them, John? But don't forget, I bought this model and this model, that I'm actually telling you to get that model and the other model before these ones came out. And if any one of these cheaper ones breaks, I'll definitely, like if this breaks, I'll get another one of them. If that one breaks, I'll get the YN568EX. So the YN568EX though, that retails for 99, which is lovely. It's about 120, 125. I highly recommend spending the other 25 quid if that's your flash you're going to go for. If you think this one sounds great, spend the extra £10 and get that one. And if you're loaded and you want something that's going to be, well, not loaded, if you want something for really good reliability, I mean, all these have worked great for me, so I'm not actually going to say they're bad because they're not. I would go for the Canon, which is very expensive. But the YN568EX will do everything that the Canon will do, apart from you can't turn it into master mode, which will control off-camera flashes. But you have got a 600D which does that anyway, so you don't need that feature. So your YN568EX will be it'll do everything that this daddy will do. The only thing I can say is I've had this 3 years, this flash. I've only had the couple of these a year and 1/2 a year. I've had this 3 years and it has fired thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands of times, and it's never once not worked, it's never overheated, and it's never let me down. So I am a wedding photographer, so I do like to have that with me. But as you can see, I hope that clears up the flashes. And you did ask me to break it down in what would you get. Well, it depends on what your job is. I mean, if it's a wedding photographer and you're going to get a lot of money, jump straight to the Canon and then get some of the cheaper ones as well for off-camera flash. Like, if I shoot off-camera flash at a wedding, I tend to use the YN565EX, because if my assistant or somebody knocks it over, I've only lost £100, and I can still control it with them posh triggers or the in-camera flash menu from my camera. So if I'm using it as a rim light behind the bride, it's a bit bright, I can just go into my camera's flash control and turn it down. Bearing in mind though, it does need line of sight if you're going to use your built-in 600D flash trigger. If you're thinking, right, John, well, I want that, but I also want to be able to do it in blazing sunshine outside, then you might want to think about still getting the flash is still good, but obviously get the 568EX if you got the extra couple of quid. Get the YN622C flash triggers. They're only about 65 quid for a pair, which means you put one on your camera, you put one on. You can only do the same thing as your built-in wireless flash trigger on your 600D, but it doesn't need line of sight. So you can put it round a corner and fire your flash off and turn it up and down, whereas with the built-in you can't. It's got to see the little pop-up flash. So if I were going to fire that now, I'd probably go like this. I've turned it round, and now the infrared bit would see me flash on my camera, and I can control it from my 600D and turn the power up and down. I can zoom the head in and out. So I hope this helps. Thanks for watching. Please comment and subscribe.